Hey guys, it's time again for some more development, and we are nearing the end of our monster blueprint. Right, we have done this part, we've done this part. Oh wait a minute, have we done this part? No, we haven't done this part, but we have done this part. Right, this is now available, and our next one is going to be this vector. Okay, and this vector is calculated higher up. Okay, so it is basically here somewhere. Okay, or in fact, is it? Is it actually higher up? I think it's actually up here. I'm going to make this bigger for a second so that we can work out what this is. Okay. Calculate sun rotation. Now we do have this is it here. Okay, so we get our 2 rotate angle axis, then we lerp it, then we rotate it. But it isn't that. Why do we know that? Well, we know that because it's actually this one, right? Which is the world rotation. So it's when we calculate the world rotation. Okay. So let's have a look for this. It's here. Okay. And the question here is, where? This is it here, in fact, moonlight rotation. Right? And it's when we do this normalize, right, that we basically get this value. Right? So what we're going to do is we're going to out. Okay, so this is going to be f vector, and we're going to call it out vec moon rot. Okay, and we're going to have to put it in the other one. So let's do that, shall we? So it's in calc moonlight rotation. Ah, wait a minute. We're not doing that. So we're going to cut that out. It's actually in here. Right? So we're doing calc moonlight rotation. Okay, and then we're doing a comma there and paste that in. Then we're going back to here. Then we're doing that. Okay. And we're saying equals temp vector. Okay. And then when we're doing this, calculate moon rotation. Right. Let's have a look at that again. Right, there is our calculate moon rotation. And we're doing comma that. Okay. And we need to add this yeah, that should be right. Alright, let's build that and see what we've done wrong, if indeed anything. I'm guessing that this isn't quite right. We'll soon find out. If this is right or wrong. And yeah, F vector. Okay. So we're not passing that in. Right. But we are right, we are doing an out vector. Right, so we need our out vector thing here. Okay. So F vector out moon vector. Okay. And that's going to go here. We need a comma there. Then we need this in here. Okay. And we're going to do a comma. And that. Okay. And basically this is going to pass us a value back, and that's going to be out moon vector okay. So calc moon light rotation and this is going to be an out. I'm not 100% sure about the syntax on this. That doesn't seem to be the way to go here. Calc moon light rotation. Right, so okay. So I think that's right. Probably not. Getting myself a bit confused here. But we'll see. Oh, well there we go. Right, so that seems to be fine. And now we compile that, and now we should have another one, out moon vector, okay? And that out moon vector is basically going to plug straight into there. And it is very humid where I am. I am dripping with sweat. I can't put the fan on or it'll basically annoy the hell out of you guys. So anyway, this is going to go in here, and then we're going to straighten it. And probably the best idea here is to drag this along a bit. That'll do it, and then I'll probably have to straighten it again. Okay. So what have we got now? We've done that one. And now that was moon vector. let's just make sure that that's right. That's min vector, which is right. Then we have this. Which is moon opacity. Okay, and that is this number here. Intensity. So we've got these okay. So this is going to be a scoosh, right? So that's BP, and then we've got to clamp this, and we've got min max moon opacity now, right? So we need to copy that, and then we need to paste that. Right, so this is a vector 2D again. Okay, so we're gonna have to put this in. So let's do that, shall we? Right. So it's F vector 2D moon opacity. Okay, so we're grabbing that, copy that, and pasting it in there. Build so that we can add it. Okay. There we go. Right, so now we can refresh nodes, and there's our moon opacity. Okay. Now, I've only got really one thing left to go. After this, and that's fine. Right, so we're going to do a param moon opacity, okay? So let's do that. So we shall copy that. And then we shall call this opacity. Give me just 1 second, guys. Right. So the funny thing about it is most of these don't actually need to be blueprint callable because they're getting called internally. Hi, Quite Abandoned, how are you, mate? Right. So now create that, close that, go into here, right, Now we're coming down, coming down, coming down. And we're going to say temp value. We're just finishing off this big blueprint, and then we can do some testing basically. Temp value. Then we can say temp value equals 1.0f minus, and this isn't actually this, it's actually going to be BP intensity. BP intensity, and that starts us off. Then we're going to copy this, and it's going to be that. Okay. Next thing we're going to do, is we do this part. Okay. So this is the value coming into our clamp, and all we're doing is clamping a float between X and Y. Okay. So that's absolutely fine. So we need to do one more thing. Well, you'll see the final result in a minute. So it's intensity, then this is going to be F vector 2D, and that's going to be moon opacity, and that should be a capital D. You see, I'm beginning to pick up on the little things that I've done wrong without having to go to something to tell me. And I believe we've got to do that. And there we go. So we've got that. And we do F math clamp, open that, right, so it's our value, so it's this thing here, comma, comma, close brackets, then it's going to be moon opacity dot X then moon opacity dot Y. Okay, and that's us. Super smashing great. And now we can go and call this, copy that, And it's this one here. Right, so we're going to say equals that right, and we are going to say this value here paste, right, so we need BP underscore intensity, comma, moon opacity. Okay, so we build that. Oops, we have errors, unfortunately. Always float that. That's not moon opacity. That shouldn't be, this should be a float. Right, this has got to be an input, but we need our output as well, right? So we need our float param moon opacity. And then we need to add this to that. What did I call that? Right, param. Right, so this is param moon opacity. Right, and we're going to go for it and see what the error is this time, if there's one. Oopsie. And there we go, it's built. Okay, and finally what we're going to do here is, this is a sky material, right? We're going to do that, then we're going to copy it, and we're going to paste it. And there it is. Right, but we need the sky material, which is that one there. So that goes to there. That goes to there. Straighten that out. Okay, how's about that? Just give me a second. Right. So, basically, this, all of this, no, I'm making it faster. It'll inherently run faster in C++. Refresh the news. Drag this down. Do a reroute node. Yeah, well, at least that's the plan anyway. Whether it does or doesn't is an interesting concept. Right. Now, as we see there, sun coverage is actually set over here. So we could actually join that up or just leave it. Okay. But that gives us our return value. Right, so if I want to actually implement this, believe it or not, all I need to do is join that to there. Right? Oh. Right, I'm going to turn on my fan, okay, because this is getting pretty bad. So you'll need to let me know if this fan, you guys can hear it or not, and if it's annoying or not. So give me 2 seconds. Okay guys, the fan is on. Let me know if that is annoying and I'll switch it back off or move it a bit or something. But what I'm going to have to do now is basically, I can't remember what we had. Right, moon coverage, right? Add a breakpoint. Okay. So, I think we'd tested up till here certainly, and we probably had tested here, but I'll just do it again. Right, so if we press play, did we actually test this? We might actually need to. Yes, well, it's not really that hot, it's just humid. Right, we're going to step over that 14 and 63. Right, we'd already tested this, right? But what we need here is this number, which happens to be 0. Right? So I'm guessing so this is 0. Well, we can step over that. Zero and 0. Okay. 0.69. So for moon coverage, 0.69. Then for this one, 1.3. So we'll check these two first on the other one. So we're going to press stop. And it was these two here. Right, so we'll add a breakpoint here. And do that. Compile that. Right, wait a minute. BP intensity. Right, so we need to put that in. Which is this. So we're going to copy that. Put it in there. Right, and everything else is filled out. Compile that. And spaghetti. Right, so this is apparently not going to give us the answers to this. Right. So I think the best idea here is just to do a couple of print strings. Now I am expecting problems here. Okay, I am definitely expecting problems. Right, but we'll just have to wait and see. We're going to do green and let's say a red. So we'll do that, we'll do that, we'll do that, we'll do that. Then we'll set that value there. Set that value there. And Now we test. Disable breakpoint. Resume. Now that's not, well, it might be right, but it's printing out a rotator. Okay, so the question now is, what does it print out if we do that? Nothing. Right, so it's all in the C++ where it's printing out. Okay? So we need to get it to stop doing that. Right? So we need to look in all of our functions for our outputs, our print to strings basically. There's one, they've both been commented out, so that's okay. This one's okay. This one's done. Okay mate, catch you later. Right, let's see if we're doing any. Apparently not. Not doing any there. Aye, computer tube. Right, so, well that's not. Right, here's a print. So, we want that out. That seems to be it, which can't be right. I can only assume it's in our other C++. Right, but we aren't doing it anywhere else. So that's kind of weird. Right, so we're gonna have to rebuild that. So how are you tonight, computer tube? And if any of you guys haven't subscribed up till now, do me a favour and hit that subscribe button, and by the weekend we might even hit 900. Thank you for the subscribe earlier, computer tube. I appreciate it. Right, so that's built, right? No worries, mate. Right, so what we'll do is we'll do a redirect on this, or a reroute, then we'll join that up. right? Right, so it's doing the two. One is -1. One is 1.3. Okay. So if we do the same thing, copy that. Right. And then if we put it in exactly the same place, which is here, we can basically test it against the blueprint version. Okay. We do that, and we do that. Now, was that coming out the same place? Well, actually we don't know, but in theory that's right. What's green apple? What's code to do that? Well, there's an example project that Epic put out with that very thing. I would suggest you have a look at that. It's like a fantasy world in a little village where they demonstrate pick up and drop. So I would suggest you go with that, because it's not one line of code. So if we compile that, press play, 1.3 and -1. So that's actually right, which I'm kind of not surprised about, to be fair. Right. So what I think we'll do is, if I remove this and this and this and this, then delete that, we can basically test this one by one against each other. Right? Because what we can do is we can move them along the line and check them one by one. Right? So in this case, we basically go like that, and then we put that in there. Okay? And then we run it. Okay, wait a minute. I can't remember the project. If you want me to go and look for it, I can, and I think I know what one it is. Or what I'm saying is, if I see it, I'll know what it's the right one. Right, so if I run that, that's giving me 12.5. Okay. So what we do next is pop this in here and make sure we get the same thing. So we compile that and press play. And we need to stop that, and we need to delete these. Oh, you know what it is? It's... Right, I'll tell you what, this will probably give you the blueprint, right? But it's actually not a tutorial on drag and drop or pick up and drop. It's actually, funnily enough, and what a coincidence, it's actually a tutorial on moving stuff to C#. Sorry, C++. Right? So let me have a look. Moving blueprint to C++. Let me have a look at this. Right. I'll see if I can find the right one here. Right, I'm just wondering if this is... The one I'm looking at, it was kind of part of what I was looking at the time, but it's not the one. You know what? I think it's actually... I think it's under... Thanks Bad Chad for the subscribe, by the way, it's very much appreciated. Just noticed it there. I don't normally notice them or see them. A lot of the time it doesn't pop up, right? Right, I think it's part of the Unreal Engine. Right, give me a second. Right, I think it's actually part of the Epic Unreal Engine, and I believe I'll show you the here once I find it, right? Just give me a second here. Right, it's not part of that. I'm sure it's part of like the Learn. It's like courses and tutorials. Just give me a second here. Right. Now this project will have, it's got the stuff for the pick up and drop stuff, right? But the other thing it's got is it's done for blueprints. It's done in a way to convert blueprints to C++. So not only will it show you how to do it in blueprints because you get a tutorial project, but it'll also show you how to do it in the actual, right? The actual. Now, if I remember rightly, right, these things are a pain in the neck to find anything, right? We'll do that. Now, you don't know what this is going to be called. And I don't know how to do a search on it. Right, but it's converting. Let me find out which one it is. Let's do Screen Apple a favour and find the correct one here that we're looking for. Right, I don't know how old it's going to be, and I don't know how to search for it. Ah, here we go. This is it here, I think. Yeah. Right, this is it here. Right, now there is a project that comes with this, right? Right, but whatever. Right, but this, basically this project actually allows you to do this stuff, right? And if you go through the course, I think I did go through the course, right? I'm not sure, but this, the project files has got a project that shows you how to pick up stuff and drop stuff, and obviously you could use that in your code. Okay, so I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll do that. I'll copy that, right? And then we'll put that in the chat for Screen Apple. And that's going to be probably the best answer we can give. And for some reason my stream has stopped. Ah, we're back. Right, so I was looking at the wrong one there. So there you go, that's the code, right? So have a look at that, and that's got the blueprints, and it's quite handy to do some of those courses as well, right? I don't do them very often, I've not got very many, and it's mainly on certain things, but it can be quite fun. And you get like a little digital certificate type thing. Normally what I like to do is find out like what number I have, or how many I can answer without actually doing the course. You know, so it's like, what is my actual basic Unreal Engine knowledge, and that gives me an idea of, you know, and then I find out if I actually know anything or not. And it's always like multiple choice questions, so you've always got a gambler's chance of getting it right, if you want to do it that way. Right, so if you're enjoying the stream so far, guys, hit the like and subscribe, it helps a lot. I'm trying to get to 900 before the weekend, which would be fantastic. Also check the links in the description to our Kickstarter, and you can sign up for when we go live. It's not going to cost you anything, that would help a lot as well. And there's various other links in there to Discord, websites, my previous game, etc. So I'm going to go and have a cigarette. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Don't go anywhere, guys. We shall continue testing this. Okay guys, we're back. Now, if Screen Apple's still there, let me know, and I'll try to elaborate a bit further on what I was talking about. There's a lot of systems that you need to put in place for picking stuff up. You need an interaction system where you interact with an item, right? Because in most games you can pick some items up, but you can't pick others up. Like obviously you can't pick up a tree. So you need to create an interactable system. Then it depends if you're talking about picking up an item like a cube that isn't going to go in your inventory and isn't going to get used. You're basically picking it up to move it to somewhere else or throw it at somebody or something like that, right? You'll also need animations where, if it's depending on whether it's a first or third person game, you're going to need a position in your pawn where they're going to like hold it out in front of them or whatever, right? And then so basically then you'll need an animation for the hands to go out as if they're carrying something, right? And then, as I said, all that's, you're going to need the item on your player, so you're going to need a variable that stores the item in the player so that the player knows that he's actually holding an item or not. And that's going to obviously trigger your animations, blah blah blah. So there's quite a lot to it. Right? So we're going to press play and we get 12.57. Okay, that is on the blueprint we started with. And now damn it. If we do this and compile it and press play, we should get the same number. And we do. So, good start. Our first variable is correct. So the next thing we do is we delete that. We plug that back in there. We delete that. Right? And we basically get this value here, and we plug that in, and we plug that in there. Right? And then we do the same over here. So we delete that. We unhook that. Unhook that. Plug that back in there. Drag this across. Plug that in there. Plug that in there. Then we plug that in there. And that gives us our next one. Right? So we run this one. 1464. Okay? We remove that, and we didn't like the fact that it did that, right? Then we put it in here, compile, and run it, and we get 1464, so that's right. Okay, so we gradually go along the line. So we delete that, we delete that, and that, we drag that to there, we plug this back in, then we do the next one, which is this one here. And we plug that one in. We try not to do that, but we did. Compile that. And then we need to do the same here. Now this is a rather laborious process, but I'm not saying it's the only way to test it. But since I haven't been testing it, well, I know that some of these are right because I did test it up to a point, but I'm going to have to take a quick comfort break. I shall be right back. Okay guys, sorry about that little interruption there, but one has to go, one has to go. So we are on this deactivate light. Okay, and we're going to have to put that there, which is fine, right? So we aren't plugged in yet. Stick that back in. So this is joined on and we've done it here. So we're going to get our value, right? So we press play and we get 0. That's fine, I think. So now we drag this up. We do that, compile, play, 0. Okay, so we're happy with that. So we delete this We don't need to delete that because we're going to be using it. So we're going to be doing that, right? Then we're going to plug this in here. And as you can see, we're just gradually moving along the list. And we're getting our new intensity here. Now the reason I'm not testing this straight away is because I'll forget the bleeding number. Right? So I'm just getting these set up and then basically I'll test it, you know, one after the other. But if you're confident enough to remember the numbers, which I'm sure you young guys are, then by all means batter in. This is if you like this way of testing. I mean, if you don't like this way of testing, then obviously do it your own way. That's perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with that either, as long as you do some kind of testing to make sure that this stuff is, the numbers are lining up, right? So we're now doing this new intensity. So we're going to compile that and run it, and we're getting a 0 again. Now a lot of these numbers are going to be zeros and ones, just the way that the material is doing it, right? So I'm not overly concerned. So now what we're going to do is drag this back down again and run it in here. Compile it, run it, and we're getting 0 again. So as I said, I'm not concerned about getting zeros. So we shall carry on. So we shall remove that and that and that. Then plug this back in, move this along. Now you could do simultaneous testing here by, you know, doing debug print if you really wanted to. Right, so we're doing this number now. And this is going to be slightly different, I think. I don't think this one's going to give us a 0. But you never know. We'll have to wait and find out, I suppose. Right. So we're now on to our first parameter. And this is where it can, of course, all go wrong. Right? So, we're on to our moon coverage. So let's just check that that's what we're checking here. Moon coverage, that's right. And we're doing the bottom first. So, what number do we get? We get 0.069. Okay, which is fine, unless our top number does not say 0.069, and then we get a little upset. Well, actually we don't get upset, we just get disappointed because we're going to have to look into the code, but it's not, it's absolutely super. So far so good. And we just keep moving along, basically. We keep chugging along. Right. And we're now doing this next one. we just remove that, that and that, then we move it along a bit. As I said, this is just the way I'm doing it, which kind of makes sense to me. You might find a better way of doing it. As I said, you can do it as you go, and for quite a few of the early functions, when I was converting the blueprint into C++, then that's exactly what I was doing, right? And there's absolutely nothing wrong with doing that. Right, but now we're checking our coverage, and that seems good. So we compile it, then we run it, and we're getting -1. I'm at the point now where I'm kind of don't know what to expect, so that's quite good, because I'm not going to be put off. Compile that, play, -1, smashing. So I've got to say, this is going pretty well so far, surprisingly well actually. And do that. As I said, I'm kind of not surprised at the zeros and the -1s and the 1s, because it's basically doing some material parameters and stuff. So it's basically switching off like some kind of opacity or doing a direction or something like that. So I'm not particularly worried about it. Right. And this is where we might go wrong. Right, this is the first one where I think things might go a bit awry. But hopefully not. Hopefully we shall be all good and we've done everything right in the code and everything's just going to work right out the box. And that will be fantastic. So, I believe that's both of them. Yep. And we're testing this one first. So what number do we get? We get 1.306. Okay, so if we get 1.306 at, let me just run that again, what was that? 1.306. Okay. Compile that. 1.3. It's bloody close enough, I think. So we're going to call that a win. And we're now on to moon vector. And we can delete this. And in fact we'll not, right? Because we'll need it for the next one anyway. But we are getting a linear colour, which I don't know what that's going to say actually. Well, it's going to give us an RGB value, isn't it? Right, so to here. And this is going to go in here. Going to do that. Going to do that. If you need to at this point, you could write down the numbers for this, or you can basically think to yourself, is this actually the same? So we're going to press play. 0.42, 0.87. 0.25, 36, 0.9, 0.26. Alpha is 1. Right, so we're expecting something similar. I think that's right. Right, let's do that again. Right, and we'll add a breakpoint there. Okay, so now what we can do is we can look at this number, 0.42, 0.86, 0.24. 0.42, 0.86, 0.24. Okay. Disable that breakpoint, stop it. Drag this back up. And I've completely forgotten what those numbers were. It's 0.36. Blah de blah. Right, stop that for now. We add a break point. Right. And 0.42, 0.24, that's right, that's bang on the money. Disable breakpoint, stop it. As I said, that is bang on the money. So it looks like our C++ is actually right. It looks as if we have mimicked exactly what the blueprint does, which at the end of the day was the point. Okay. So now we need to get that number there. And we're getting that number there. is plugged in. Compile, go. 0.5. Okay. Point 0.5. Beautiful. Okay, so basically what we're doing now is we're just going to delete this, and then we're going to add a breakpoint, and then press play, and then we're going to check this number 12.56. Stop. And then we're going to do exactly the same thing down here. Okay. So we're just going to delete that, plug that in, add a breakpoint, compile it, run it. 12.56. Beautiful. So that now proves that our C++ is doing exactly what this did, right? Now the beauty of moving it like I have, right, is that I have kept the original code or the original blueprint, right, intact, so that if anything does go wrong, we can refer back to this and then plug it straight back in our editor environment to find out what's going wrong. Right, so rather than butcher this as we go, I find this a much better, because it's not going to compile this code anyway, right? It's just going to compile this part because it's the only part connected. So we can basically live with that. Now the next part of testing, I would have to have a look to find out, but the idea would be to find out how long this takes to actually run. And how long this takes to run. Okay, but I think this is a good place to stop for tonight. So if you have watched and enjoyed it, hit like and subscribe. Trying to get to 900 before the end of the weekend, before the end of Sunday, so that would be appreciated. Check out the links in the description to our Kickstarter. You can join up to be notified when we go live with our Kickstarter. You can join our Discord, both for the game and my personal one. You can join my Patreon, or you can check out my game on Steam, which is only $1, still only $1. That helps a lot if you purchase that or even view it. And finally to our website. So thanks again for watching, guys. I'll catch you tomorrow at 2 PM Central. Bye bye for now.